been called a lot of names as a tenderer. A cat herder, a bid nerd. I've been called a weirdo. I've been called a pocket rocket.
Nice.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
I've been called a gun for hire.
A gun for hire.
Yeah.
I've been called a terrier. I've been called a bulldog.
Nice.
Yeah.
And probably T-Rex.
T-Rex. Yeah. Ooh, I like it. All of the names that I've been called have something in common, though. They apply to the wonderful people that work in our profession. And I've asked you here with your second hat on, Tania Field, Chair of the APMP ANZ, to really shed a spotlight on what it is to be a proposal management professional. I think it's a common theme among tenderers, proposal management professionals, that we fall into tendering. How did you fall into it?
So I was in a very senior administrative capacity working for a chief investment officer, huge pipeline, team of 50 people. And I was asked to second into a role in a proposal management coordination role for a JV for Central Place Sydney, which was an unsolicited proposal. What was essentially a $3 billion value project.
So only a small ask first bid up, yeah?
Small, yeah, I know, exactly. So adjacent to major rail interchange, so it's the busiest railway in Australia. Super complex, so formed part of that team and came out the other end being a massive advocate for bids and proposals.
Did you know what a proposal manager was?
I probably had been doing it in capacities, but wasn't actually in that title per se.
Didn't realise that it was an actual profession.
Definitely didn't, but I would suggest I'd been acting in that capacity for some time. So I'd been working in a development team environment for at least, 8 years up until that moment. And that was a team of originators. So they were constantly chasing acquisitions, but then also competitive processes.
Yeah, the next big thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was always involved in it. I wasn't that official title per se, but when I eventually, through circumstances of moving out of that role and having that moment where you have to pivot or you have to make a decision about your career, I went, a tenderer I shall be. And therefore, when I did that and I went, okay, we're in boots and all, we're going to run so hard at this. We're going to find every single kind of, association, certification, whatever that I could achieve and put down on my resume and prove to every single person moving forward, this is me and this is my skill set.
Including yourself.
Yeah, and that's what led me to doing your course at the time, was the diploma that I undertook.
Let's look at what that skill set was then. You realised that you had brought a skill set to this proposal. If you had to define the skill set, what is it? What does it encompass?
I'll be honest, I think you can come at it from different superpowers and strengths, and you might be forward in one area, so writing, and then secondary in others. My dominant set of skills is around organisation and project management and stakeholder management. So I can do all of those other things confidently and to a great degree, but those are the areas that I would say I excel in.
That's really interesting, because if someone is coming new to this profession, or they've just recently fallen into it, they could be, as you say, a great writer. They could be a creative. They could be a graphic designer, or have come from an advertising or a PR background. They could be a marketer. They could be from project management or an operational background. And they really have to decide to some extent where they sit within the profession.
Absolutely.
You said something to me the other day that I found really interesting. You said not everybody wants to be a strategist, Deb. You are known to pull me up on things, which I do appreciate enormously. I think there's...
Are you sure?
Yes, I am. I'm positive. I always assume that everybody loves strategy. I always assume that that's what people want to do, but some people don't. They're actually really great at process, or really great at compliance, really great at consistency, or really good at maintaining a content pool, or exceptional at designing. Is there a space for everybody in the proposal management profession?
I think there is. And I think, though, that we are changing somewhat how we're evolving with AI. It's more about how progressed and mature we are at understanding AI. I think that is changing, where I would have said every skill comes into the muck, the mess, and plays a role. Perhaps that becomes a bit more refined moving forward.
Yeah.
Potentially, maybe not on the JV consortia bids just yet.
Yeah.
Yes, you can still be dominant and forward in a certain skill that you're very good at.
Yeah.
But I think the nature of perhaps writing and how dominant writing is probably changes a little bit.
Might be changing over time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always said that you actually do have to bring a multifaceted skill set to bidding, no matter what. No matter which bit becomes the dominant part of how you work within a team, you have to be multifaceted. You know, you might have a project management background, operational background, technical background. Many people in proposal management come from engineering, for example. What are the soft skills that people absolutely must have to make it in this profession?
I'd say relationship skills, general communication skills as well. Well, not general, really good communication skills.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of very subpar communicators, and that doesn't help in a time-pressured environment. Problem solving, empathy.
I mean, you say empathy. I sometimes think we have to be therapists.
Light touch therapy, because there's no time.
There's no time for deep
hardcore
therapy. Yeah.
But fundamentally, you're there to do a job and move people efficiently through something.
Yeah. It's really interesting though, because I think if people are people, they might actually get a lot of joy from being a proposal manager. You get to experience the best and the worst of people in a very close period of time. And if you care and you have empathy, then you get to actually help them navigate that.
100%.
But I also think it's not for some people. Do you think there'd ever be a circumstance where someone came to you and you actually said, don't do this, don't become a proposal management professional?
It's really interesting you say that, because when I had my light bulb moment and said, a tenderer I shall be, someone reached out to me and said, are you sure you want to go down that path? Bids are really hard.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, I am.
Yeah, bring it on.
I think the harder, and for me, the more difficult something is, the more enjoyable I find it. Yes, I don't think it's for everyone. I think if you can't probably deal with degrees of uncertainty and ambiguity, it's probably not the place for you to play in, because that will never change and you cannot expect it to change. So you need to be comfortable in not knowing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you nailed it on the head. Ambiguity, uncertainty. I think I'd probably add that if you are the sort of person that has to be perpetually in control of everything, then this is not the profession for you, because you often have to step back and say, I am not in control of this particular decision, or I am not in control of this particular dynamic. I can contribute to it. I can be part of it. I can put an idea forward, but I'm actually not ultimately going to be able to be in control of it. So if you're very firm on control and command doesn't really work very well in a bid environment.
Yeah. I've seen project directors of large multi-billion-dollar projects come into a bid environment who I think are that type of personality, quite command and control, because I think that, and it has a time and a place for it.
It does, yeah.
But in those bid environments, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It actually becomes a bottleneck and an inhibitor to basically progress. So there is a certain extent of flexibility that is required, but I'm probably going to come back to the aspect of control because I've been sort of probably empowered and given permission by you a fair bit to step into that space where I think by nature I do want to drive an outcome, but I've probably been worried that maybe that doesn't work in getting the best out of people.
Yeah.
And I think you've always reaffirmed me and reconfirmed that, no, you need to step into that space and drive and drive and drive. So I do think control is in it, in regard of this is mine, I'm going to get
Oh,
us
this is
through
mine,
to the
I'm
end,
going
not
to
let it
drive
go.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably the level of inflexibility in that's more of the aspect that you have to look at, which is that command and control. This is the way.
It's going to be
It has
this way
to
or the
be.
highway. That doesn't work. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I agree. So recently you, along with your committee, you organised a pretty exceptional event for bid professionals, about 180 people.
180.
What were the emerging themes from it for the future of the profession?
So AI emerged. We didn't deliberately set out to make it just about AI. I'm a big believer in allowing this to be a much broader conversation to see what comes to the surface. So I don't believe in just kind of leaning into the hype and only talking about the hype. I guess our role, as advocating and ambassadors for the profession, is to still come back to our core skill set
for the people in the profession
and make sure that we're developing that. But AI emerged as a theme because, and we'd also be silly to not explore it and look at it. But we did it in the context of what is the future of work generally as AI then rises to the top. I guess one of the other themes is then that we saw really strongly through all of those sessions was, well, with the impact of AI, what time does that leave available to people? So if you can consider being in high volume bids that are quite standard by nature, therefore you could assume technology supports you to do that more efficiently. Does that leave room to do a higher order set of skills? So you're less in the weeds of kind of the production, therefore you're lifting up to more front foot skill set in terms of strategy? Or are you leaving room to do more? Just more?
Is there just more?
Generally? Or are you pivoting?
But wait, there's more.
Or are you pivoting completely differently? So I think there's 3 avenues to look at. But the first avenue was the avenue most strongly, I guess, regarded and discussed at the conference, which is leading into more strategic skill set. Less back office type scenario of the profession. We both love strategy equally. We love a facilitation. We love getting out there in front of the people. But I guess what we learn is that there's probably 50% of people who like sitting behind the scenes. And so what does that mean for those people?
Do you think there's an opportunity there to actually elevate and advocate for the profession as a whole to be recognised for its contribution more? Because AI might take over some of the, some of the more mundane and more administrative aspects of what we do. Do you see that as an opportunity for us to yell a bit loudly that we matter?
I think it gives us an opportunity, yes, to yell that we matter more. What we're learning is that the bid and proposal professionals in most organisations are probably screaming for the technology as well. So you're part of that discussion and you're part of informing those investment decisions because it has a very direct influence and impact and an opportunity, especially when you combine that with I guess, revenue growth. It's a really direct correlation and very easy to sell. So yes, you can leverage that perspective. I think it also, there's just a challenge in how the career, if it does, gets reframed over the next 5 to 10 years. If we consider it will take a little bit longer than overseas. So maybe we'll borrow some of those insights from overseas before it happens here.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. What was another emerging area from discussions?
Dominant AI, dominant strategy. It's trying to start to connect people to thinking broadly about the changes going on around you and how it impacts buying decisions. We still went back to the traditional aspects of the craft. So there were some sessions around getting the most out of your subject matter experts. So that stuff still reigns supreme. People still have the same issues around dynamics of getting the most out of people in a constrained environment. I think from a leadership perspective, how do you deal with when everyone comes off the curve of a project life cycle and everything goes quiet and we wait for the next bid to come? What are we doing with that available time?
Yeah.
We still have some of these challenges of hybrid working as well. So
Yeah.
they're probably all challenges that are shared commonly across industry.
Yeah. And as you came away from the conference, how did you feel about the profession as a whole? What were your reflections?
I just felt really proud. It was a huge achievement to run a 180-person conference, and an initial survey that we ran, 99% enjoyed it, got a lot out of it. So it was fundamentally wonderful. I feel buoyed to be part of a community, and I think people are appreciating seeing that we are shining a spotlight on our profession and we're advocating for our seat at the table and our capability beyond what perhaps it has been seen as probably typically administrative.
Yep.
And even that annoys me to say that word, because admin people are just fantastic
Admin
in what
people
they
are
do.
awesome people.
I don't know why people have ever thought it's lesser than what it is. But so I don't know, I felt really great. I feel genuinely positive about it and curious.
About the future of our marvellous profession.
Absolutely.
So we will go forth and herd cats together.
100%.
Excellent.
Forevermore.
Forevermore. So you decided you were going to be a tenderer. You were all in. Any surprises?
Probably wasn't ready for the fun I was going to have. I think the surprises were definitely the levels of stress at times. But as I would like to contextualize that I'm predominantly a major submission manager, as I have been positioned in this business for ever since I started.
Yeah.
And I think I've just had to deal with that. I've grown in maturity and how I can manage that stress more effectively. So that was a surprise. Probably a surprise was how dysfunctional most organisations are. But that's not a bad, I'm not saying that as if you're listening and I have worked for you. Yeah.
No, it's like saying we're all human. Organisations all have their quirks. They all have their level of dysfunction. They are not the perfect thing that they seem to be.
And I feel quite twee in saying this, but every time someone clarifies, we're a matrixed organisation, it's not that easy to get it, or I'm behind the eight ball, and I say, you're not a unicorn.
You're not alone in this.
At this point in time, every single organisation I've worked with has that same challenge.
Yeah. And
I guess in the inverse of that is, why can't we get better at this stuff? We've all got these same challenges. I think they're probably the fundamental, it was the stress and maybe probably needing to lean in a little bit more than I expected I would have to. Mm-hmm. So even though I've come in and I'm really privileged in the position I play in multi-billion-dollar projects where I get to sit in that leadership role, I'm not suddenly just sitting there and delegating 50,000 actions. I'm actually probably absorbing quite a lot of it too, in order to, I guess, reduce the noise that hits the team of writers that are working with me so that they can get on and do their job. So probably maybe shouldering more than I probably anticipated.
And shouldering it incredibly well.
Well, thank you. But I enjoy it. As I said to you, it is a privilege. It's a great privilege, but it's taken a great degree of maturity to work through that and get to that position.
Yeah.